Hello and welcome back. I am Stephanie and this is Money on Purpose. The main purpose of my channel is to show my own personal journey and struggles with getting out of debt. But today I'm going to be talking about the VA Veteran Readiness and Employment service. So I am myself a veteran and I have used the VR&E program. So I just want to say what my experience has been with it and maybe give you a little bit of tips and pointers on what you should do. So first of all, if you are considering going to college after you get out, I would highly suggest, if you are eligible for VR&E, to check them out. Any school that you are interested in attending should have a veteran services office that you can go to. And theoretically, they should know all about the available programs. Sometimes they're not as knowledgeable as other times because, as we know, the government and the VA are not efficient, and information is complicated, convoluted. People think they know what the real information is, but they don't. So anything that they tell you, I would suggest have them show you it in writing somewhere, because when I initially went to my veteran office, I was asking the difference between using the Montgomery GI Bill, because I had opted into that, and the post 9/11, and all conventional wisdom from this person was that the post 9/11 is the best, yada yada yada. So I said, okay, sure. So I signed the form that says that I intend to proceed with the post 9/11 and that I acknowledge that I no longer have access to the Montgomery GI Bill for that choice. You have to choose, like, immediately when you're considering attending college which one you want to use. So not everyone's situation is the same. Oftentimes the Montgomery is the better choice. Now, when I enlisted and I was at boot camp or basic training, whatever you want to call it, I was told that if I opted into the Montgomery, you pay a $1,200, I think, opt-in amount. I forget exactly how much it was. But that when you go to college and you choose the post 9/11, if you choose the post 9/11 instead, that you then get that money refunded to you, the $1,200 opt-in money. Well, that is true, but when I called and asked about it, about getting that refund, they said, you're not eligible to receive that refund until after you've exhausted all of your post 9/11 benefits. And I think that's odd, because what would that have to do with the Montgomery if I am no longer eligible to use it? So I was confused about that, but yeah. Anyway, so yes, it's refundable, but of course with strings attached. Now, if you are interested in trying the VR&E program, which I highly suggest you do if you qualify for it, because if the job you're looking into, or if you don't know what job you want to do, you are assigned a counselor that is supposed to help you figure that out. It's a good service, I think. I think it's a great service. I think it's better than just using your typical post 9/11 GI Bill. Because with the post 9/11, you're making your own choices, which for most of us, that's what we want to do, because we're tired of being told how and what to do everything. But, for those of you that have been in the service for a long time, this can be kind of nice because you've been out of the game for a little while, and that's okay. But to get back in the game, it helps to have a counselor sometimes. Now, my experience with this has been pretty good so far. The thing about this one is that you have to be very specific on what you're pursuing. I wanted to pursue, let me back up. You have to be very specific on what you're pursuing. You and your counselor will draft up an overall plan on how to get you to where you're trying to go. And the thing is that whatever occupation you are pursuing, it cannot aggravate any service-connected conditions or disabilities. So that is the nuance. That is the challenge of VR&E over just post 9/11 GI Bill. But the whole point of that is to help you find an occupation that you can fairly easily transition into without causing more harm to yourself. And then once you have that plan drafted up with your counselor, that's pretty much the plan you need to stick to. So consider very strongly how this plan is drafted up, because to change it is quite, not difficult, but it's a little bit of a process, and the success of changing that plan will highly depend on the motivations and abilities of your counselor. So think that one through. So what I did is I researched occupations in the field I wanted to go into that would require the highest amount of education. The reason being is that the field I want to go into, which is agricultural related, a lot of those jobs will be very physical, and that would not be approved based on my service-connected stuff. So, but anyway, I wanted to make sure that my plan would cover me to go the whole distance, if that's what I needed to do to get the jobs I wanted. So I would suggest that route, and also because once you receive the degrees that are on your plan, they're going to be expecting you to then find gainful employment in that industry. What's the saying? Shoot for the moon, land on the stars, or shoot for the stars, land on them. I don't know. One of those. So basically that. So some of the things that VR&E has done for me. One, I don't know why or how this worked out, but the stipend, the BH stipend I got was quite a bit higher than when I was just using the post 9/11 GI Bill. And also, VR&E covers all of your books and supplies that you need to finish your schooling. So, which is really nice if you're doing courses that require like big old lab kits or specific tools. So for instance, if you're training for some trade, let's say you're training to be an electrician, if your coursework or if your internship, your apprenticeship, whatever, requires certain tools, VR&E will pay for it. So I think that's a huge bonus. The other nice thing about VR&E is that if you have something medical come up, or dental or vision, and it'll impact your ability to finish your program, then VR&E will pay for it. This benefited me greatly because I needed some expensive dental work done, and I don't know how it would have paid for it otherwise, but they managed to approve me, and I got all of it done for free at a civilian dental clinic. They were excellent. So, very grateful for that. Thank you, VR&E. Very grateful. I believe, don't quote me on this, but I also think if you need some sort of licensing or certification, I believe they also pay for that, but please don't quote me on that. Whatever is in your plan is what will be paid for. So read over your plan, make sure it's accurate. Now, one of the issues I've run into is that recently, so I finished the first part of my plan, which was an associate's degree at a 2-year college, and the next step of the plan was to transfer to a university, and there was a specific university named on there. Well, for some reason, when I was looking into actually applying and going to that university, I was thinking that the degree I was pursuing through them wasn't quite right. So long story short, first of all, my counselor changed because my previous counselor went on to a different job in the department, and she was awesome. Loved her. She was pretty cool, thorough, fast, smart, everything you need in a counselor that's supposed to be advising you. So then I get a new one, and I'm trying to kind of bounce things off her, like of what I was thinking, and because there's not very many universities around me that offer what I want. Like I want to do agricultural science, but more on the like research services side, essentially, because all the physicalities of agriculture I don't qualify for. Essentially, it's heavy in the on biology, right? Plant science, soil science, resource knowledge. And so I thought I needed to switch to this other university, and I was about to go, like a week away from going to this school. My car didn't pass emissions. And the shop wanted $2,500 to get it to where it would pass. And this car ain't worth $2,500. Okay? Not to anyone. Not to me, not to anyone. And I didn't have $2,500. So now our family is down to one car. And so making childcare arrangement, because what I was going to do is drive my daughter to my in-laws while I was at school, because my husband is in a veteran farm program, like a privately offered program. Is pretty great so far. But so that happened. The university wanted all these childhood immunization records from me, and it's been a long time since those were done, and I've moved a bunch since then, so I was like so overwhelmed with getting all this information to them. I was a child back in the dark ages where things weren't digital, so it's not simple to find those things. But anyway, so... Oh, and when I initially did my degree audit with a academic advisor, he was showing that I would graduate with my bachelor's in 2 years. Well, then I talked to the department head of the biology department, and she's estimating it would be 3 years. And I'm thinking, I already did 2 at community college. I've been to college a whole bunch of other times. Like I went for 2 years right after high school. I went for another few semesters at an online school. And then I had a whole bunch of credits on my joint services transcript. So, because my job was highly technical. And so I'm just thinking, another 3 years? Like by the time, so that's, 2 from the place I got the degree, another 2 from that place, almost another 1, and then another 3 years would be almost 6 years of being in college for a bachelor's degree. Needless to say, that's pretty discouraging. So I was like, oh man, and I wasn't even sure if VR&E would approve it because it was a lot further than what I had talked to my counselor about. So I panic and I drop all my classes because, I have nowhere to get there. I don't like it. 3 years, and this is, university, and it's biology, so it's like heavy coursework because all my general education stuff is pretty much done, which is great. I mean, to actually be training in your field is great, but I'm just saying it's a lot of work to do for an extra year. So I drop the classes, I email my counselor and tell her, and then I say, maybe I'll take another look at that first university I was considering because I think they'll take a lot more, apply a lot more of my credits towards my degree, and I'll be done sooner. Well, she never answers that email, and I get a letter in the mail saying that she's going to recommend to discontinue my services. And I'm thinking, okay, I don't know how that helps me, because I'm clearly trying to do what I'm supposed to be doing. But anyway, long story short, I'm working on that. But I just wanted to share what my experience has been so far. And I do highly recommend VR&E. I think it's great. They hold a lot of like employment workshops. They have people that are contacts that they reach out to help get the vets employed. They pay for a lot. They pay for your books, your supplies. Now, the supplies that I've had funded were ones that I could get from the college bookstore. So if there are things outside of the bookstore that you need, you will have to probably get some sort of special permission for that. But I mean, anything I needed at the bookstore I got. Now, I didn't go crazy. I didn't get anything extra that I didn't need. I, tried to not take advantage of it. Now they did provide a laptop and a printer. I did get those. It's a very mediocre laptop. So if you only need it to do a little bit of web searching and type papers, it's great for that. If you need to use more intensive programs, like anything for graphic design, anything that requires an upgraded graphics card, or anything like that, it was no good for that. If you need AutoCAD or things like that, probably wouldn't run those. And then the printer is okay. It works great. It's just, it was an inkjet, so it would just tear through ink like crazy. And I felt bad, but I offered to get a LaserJet instead, and she said, no, you got to stick with the one that's at the bookstore. So that's what I did. And they paid for all the ink I needed, all the paper I needed, pencils, pens, highlighters, lab equipment. Yeah, anything that's required to complete your coursework, they will pay for. So that is nice. Let me see if I'm forgetting anything. I think that's pretty much it for just a general overview from someone who has used it, not necessarily an expert by any means, but just some tips and pointers, and to sort of encourage you if you need help getting back on your feet as far as employment, as far as, if you need schooling to get the employment you need, absolutely reach out to them. It's totally worth it. I would start with the veteran office at the school that you're interested in. And I would also start by doing a little bit of your own research as far as careers go. I just did a different video on this for high school kids that are about to graduate high school and people changing careers. This was one that my counselor had me use to sort of proof what job I wanted to pursue. And it's extremely helpful. So if you're interested in learning more about how I use this site and the different features of it, or the basic features of it, I should say, check out my video that I made for college kids, because it's pretty much what this was for. That's all I can think of for this topic for now. If you have any questions, please let me know. If you have anything you want to add, anything I've said that's not quite accurate, go ahead and let me know, so that we can make sure that people get the right information. I definitely don't want to tell you the wrong thing. I was just going over what I did and what it was like for me. Everyone's going to be different because it's going to depend a lot on your counselor. So unless you do a ton of research and footwork on your own, which I do suggest, but and like I said, anything a counselor or someone tells you and is advising you, have them provide it to you in writing, or direct you where to go to find it in writing. And, good luck to you, and thank you for your service, and hopefully you get the help and support that you need. I know it's a little bit tough out there, so yeah, get what you need. Get what you need for yourself and your family, and don't feel bad about that. These services are here for people like you. And as a vet and also as an American, I definitely want my vets to have access to stuff like this. So get it for yourself, for your family, and help others find it as well. All right. So I'm Stephanie. This is Money on Purpose. My main goal on this channel is to show my personal journey with debt and money struggles, but I will also pop in with stuff like this that I've experienced in my life to try to help people. I want to help people, as many people as possible. So thank you so much for your time, for listening, and have a great, great rest of your day.